Today in Investigate TV Plus Weekend, your DMV record isn't just sitting in a file. We uncover how in many states, approved buyers can pay for access to your personal info.
You have the money to buy or hire an investigator or to buy my data. I feel like, there's like a price tag on my safety, and that is devastating.
Plus, a driver makes a phone call mid-stop, and minutes later, the police chief is on the line with the officer who pulled him over.
Not right in the morning.
I'm not sure.
He's butt. Don't get me wrong, he can be a butt when he wants to. He gets us a heck of a deal to service our cars. We get it done cheaper there and do nowhere else.
Investigate TV Plus Weekend starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV Plus Weekend. I'm Lee Zurich. When you buy a car or sign up for a driver's license, your personal information doesn't just go into a vault. Departments of motor vehicles across the country are selling your data to places like tow truck companies and private detectives, all under a 30-year-old federal law, and restrictions vary depending on where you live. Our Rachel DePompa uncovers the world of DMV data dealers, what's being bought, sold, and for how much.
I am a mom of 6. I am a business owner and an advocate. I do balloons and event decor. It is a huge passion of mine. It's my way of bringing joy to people and celebrations. I didn't always have that joy, right? And so I feel like it was like my outlet to bring it to others.
Sitting in front of a wispy wall of pink, Nikki knows more than most there's always a story bursting behind every half smile.
So, my journey is rough. I had an extremely traumatic childhood.
In adulthood, she says she's dealt with more trauma, including, she says, suspicions she's been stalked and had her devices hacked. She's reported her issues to police and believes she's sometimes been the target of a hired private investigator.
If you have resources, if you have the money to buy or hire an investigator or to buy my data, I feel like, there's like a price tag on my safety, and that is devastating.
Depending on where you live, we've discovered private investigators, government agencies, car insurance companies, police, towing companies, auto dealers, and data brokers could have access to your personal information through the Department of Motor Vehicles. Your name, address, phone number, driver identification, all information you must give your state to get a driver's license or register a vehicle has been sold for millions all across this country over the last 5 years. It's actually allowed because of a law with privacy in the name, the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, or DPPA. The federal law was passed in 1994 after the murder of actress Rebecca Schaeffer. She was shot and killed at her front door by an obsessed fan who got her address from a private investigator's use of California motor vehicle records.
This law has been around for a long time now.
James Lee is the president of the Identity Theft Resource Center. He says the law doesn't keep your data from being available, it just keeps it from being publicly available.
There are reasons that you can get the information, and there are organizations that have access to the information. And in every case, states sell that information.
While the act was intended to limit access to this data, it contains 14 exemptions, including allowing sales, ironically, to private investigators, employers for background screenings, and companies for debt collection or insurance.
Your Social Security number's out there, sorry to tell you, but that's not what the bad guys really want. But your driver's license, now that's valuable to them.
We contacted the DMVs from all 50 states to find out how much money they make from these records. We also asked if you could opt out, who can buy this information, and what each state does with the money. As of early October, 35 states gave us hundreds of documents to sift through, some revealing for the very first time just how much money they are collecting from providing driving information to companies. In fiscal year 2024, these 23 states collected a total of at least $282 million. Of the states that gave us records, Georgia took in the most money, more than $53 million last year, followed by California's $49 million. Indiana collected $25 million. Ohio, $20 million. Many of the DMVs contend they don't sell information. They say they're allowed under the DPPA to charge a fee to cover the cost of maintaining the records. But those fees vary greatly from state to state. Some charge data buyers $5 to $10. Some states have contracts with large companies and charge thousands to pull hundreds of reports all at once. Rich Robertson is one of the people who gets access to those driving records.
I, as a private investigator, have access to this information. I am subject to audit. The motor vehicles office can come in at any time and ask me why I ran that particular search. I have to have insurance. I have a contract with MVD that's that thick.
He's been a private investigator in Arizona for 25 years now. Before that, he was a journalist, and he remembers what it was like before the DPPA was passed.
Back 30, 40 years ago, anybody could walk into the MVD and get a copy of somebody's driver's license.
He says the federal law is working and that Arizona also has its own strict privacy rules. He says the state could audit him or pull his license if he abused the system.
Just recently, I got a guy exonerated from a criminal charge because I was able to access motor vehicle records out of Illinois.
Robertson says people don't want their personal information out there, but at the same time, they're demanding more safety.
They want their Little League coach. They want all these people backgrounded to make sure that their children are safe. Backgrounding means digging into your private information.
DPPA came into being at a time when we were talking about somebody walking up to a DMV office and requesting a piece of paper that had driver's information on it. Whereas now it's available instantly online from any place in the world.
Lee says despite the DPPA, privacy laws from state to state are so different, it's hard to ensure the large organizations gobbling up data are following all the rules. Under the federal law, companies are not supposed to sell the data for marketing purposes, but some consumers claim it's happened in the past. LexisNexis, which we found is the leading buyer of data in nearly every state we looked at, settled a class action lawsuit in 2021 for $5.13 million. The suit alleges LexisNexis illegally sold driver information from DMV crash reports to law firms for marketing.
If you have resources, if you have the money to buy or hire an investigator or to buy my data, I feel like, there's like a price tag on my safety, and that is devastating.
It's really not fair for where you live to determine the rights you have. We need to have a uniform national law.
Only 3 states told us you can actually opt out from having your information shared, and only in certain situations: Delaware, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. For people like Nikki from Texas, the idea any personal information can be sold is more than unsettling.
I think that's something that we as victims or we as people should be able to have some control over.
Some states told us the money collected goes to funds to help with road maintenance and maintaining the driving database. LexisNexis told us it paid a settlement agreement but disagrees with the plaintiff's interpretation of the law. To see the full statement, head over to investigatetv.com and search data.
Hi, boss man. So I'm going to issue a citation today for your cell phone.
Coming up, it starts as a routine stop. Then a phone call changes everything, raising questions about fairness and influence in law enforcement. When you get pulled over, most people assume one thing: the rules are the rules. But in a North Georgia town, body camera video and phone records raise new questions about what happens when someone with influence gets involved mid-stop. The aftermath went all the way to City Hall and inside the police department. Our Brendan Keefe has the footage and the fallout.
A Jefferson police officer pulls over a pickup truck not knowing who was behind the wheel.
Good afternoon, I'm Officer Redmond, Jefferson Police Department. You got your license on you, boss? Must be new. Say what? Must be new. Me? The reason I stopped you, you were on your cell phone back there at the light. They're getting off the interstate back there, all right? All right, sit tight for me.
The driver, Stacy Blanton, wasn't done with his phone. Records obtained by Atlanta News First Investigates show the driver immediately called the cell phone of Police Chief Stephen Bannister, while Officer Jordan Redmond was in the squad car running Blanton's license. Within a minute, the chief called Officer Redmond.
Yes, sir.
You got our old man pulled over?
Who's that?
Stacy Blanton.
Yeah, who is Mr. Blanton?
Run, the guy changes all up there quickly.
Yes, sir, I got him pulled over.
You mind writing him a warning?
I'm not sure.
He's butt. Don't get me wrong, he can be a butt when he wants to be. He gets us a heck of a deal to service our cars. We get it done cheaper there and do everywhere else.
Officer Redmond pauses in silence for a moment, then...
All right.
Hey, just tell him that he owes us some free oil changes.
All right, then.
Will the officer really issue a warning instead of a ticket for the driver owing some free oil changes? The answer is no.
Hi, boss man. So I'm going to issue a citation today for your cell phone. You have two options. You have a court date on the front of your copy. You also got a what? Call? Excuse me? Your chief just called? I spoke with my chief. So you have a court date on your copy. You also have a website and phone number. He didn't say anything to you. That is a private phone call, sir. I know. So your court date's going to be on the front. The website and phone number is going to be right here on the back for you.
City cell phone records show the driver immediately called the chief back. We don't know what was said in that 2-minute call, but Chief Bannister then dialed Officer Redmond's phone, a call that lasted 7 minutes. Here's the citation. Records show Blanton paid the $50 fine in September without admitting guilt.
You drive safely, sir.
3 weeks after the stop, the city manager issued this formal reprimand to the chief for inappropriate interference. Your actions directly violate the principles of operational integrity and impartial law enforcement, the city manager wrote, adding that the chief undermined the authority and discretion of the on-duty officer, created a perception of preferential treatment, and risked public confidence in the fairness and impartiality of the police department. The city manager called the chief's conduct unacceptable, but did not demote him or issue any punishment. The city manager ordered the chief to draft a new policy to prevent him and other officers from doing what he already did.
You mind writing him a warning? Just tell him that he owes us some free oil changes.
The new policy memo is titled Prohibition on Request for Preferential Treatment Regarding Traffic Citations/Warnings, and it prevents officers from requesting that another officer issue a written warning in lieu of a formal citation. Officers are directed to decide on their own, fairly and without bias.
Our team reached out to Bannister, Redmond, Jefferson Mayor John Howell, and Blanton for comment, but received no replies. Up next, are debt collectors bothering you to the point of harassment? We share how you can determine if a collector is following the rules or crossing the line. Debt collector calls can feel relentless, and consumer advocates say some tactics are growing more aggressive. For millions of Americans, it's more than annoying. It can be stressful and confusing, especially when you're not even sure the debt is legit. Our Carice Jackman breaks down what the law allows, what crosses the line, and how to stop the spiral.
The calls can be ridiculous. They just call in at all times on the day. They just want the money. They don't care what time they call you, how many times. You know, they try to act like they're your friends or family. Hey, Kiana.
How much money are we talking about? Was it $5,000, $6,000?
I would say I probably was like $40,000 in credit card debt.
Shortly after her divorce in 2020 was the beginning of Kiana Blake's debt downfall.
I was trying to figure out how to navigate, what was mine, what was his. We separated, and I went from 2 incomes to 1, but just about the same amount of bills. So they just started calling me. So I had so many cards that I had like an Excel spreadsheet. If it's highlighted, it was a credit card that I was trying to work on paying off. But the interest rate, like the lowest one on here is like 22%, 27% interest rate is crazy. I had track of what my balances was, what my payments was, and when they were due, and it was kind of in order. Because how else would I manage it? It was so many.
Mentally, what does that do to you when you're getting, especially the aggressive ones, the kind of threatening debt collector calls?
I would say it stresses you out. It almost makes you, kind of want to comply. More aggressive ones, you probably tend to pay first because, they're going to call you.
Blake is not alone. Millions of Americans face mountains of debt, which, when unresolved, lead to nonstop calls from debt collectors. And while legitimate debt collectors have the right to call, experts tell us many still blur the line on what's ethical versus harassment. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or FDCPA, makes it illegal for debt collectors to harass or threaten you when trying to collect on a debt. For example, collectors can't generally do things like threaten violence, use obscene language, or repeatedly call someone with the intent to annoy them.
Well, it can be very deceitful. The first thing that I always tell people is initially, before you make any arrangements, any agreements with anybody, you ask them to send you validation of the debt in writing.
Debt collection reports from the Federal Trade Commission show that calls are surging from 219,000 in 2024 to over 278,000 so far this year. That's around 27%. And 41% of consumers reported receiving calls for debt they did not owe or found the calls were abusive and threatening.
They think that because the person is coming off aggressive, they feel threatened. They feel like I have to make the decision at this moment. And that's just really not the case.
Investigate TV combed through 15,000 consumer complaints made to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, dating back 10 years, about frequent debt collection calls. We found most of the complaints surrounded credit cards, medical debt, auto, and payday loans. One person wrote in part, "Over the span of 2 weeks, I received 26 calls to my cell phone from a debt collection company. I do believe it is considered harassment. I would like the calls to stop and to pursue legal repercussion in regards to this harassing behavior."
I think under CFPB rules, more than 7 in a week is considered excessive.
Danny Karen is a consumer attorney, law professor, and author. He's had his own battle fighting with debt collectors in the courtroom and recently settled a case for $7.5 million dealing with these exact problems. When does it become illegal?
It's illegal when a debt collector crosses the line, when they do certain things that the FDCPA says they can't do. They call earlier than they should, they call after they should. They threaten, they lie, they say the debt is worth more than it is. They say they're going to sue you. Certain ugly things that border on harassment or are harassment are things that often check or trigger the FDCPA and can trigger a federal case.
So how are things right now, Kiana? Are things looking up? How are they right now?
I would say things are definitely looking up from about 40,000 to probably like 13,000. So I should have that paid off in the next year or so.
That's a tremendous difference.
I mean, my credit is higher than it's ever been. It's over 700, which is a blessing.
She's ditched the spreadsheet and now has words of inspiration sprayed throughout her home. And have the calls stopped?
Absolutely, because I'm not behind on anything. My credit score is over 700, so it's like no reason to call me.
If you're having issues with a debt collector, you can also file a complaint with your state's attorney general. And if you're in need of legal help, you can visit lawhelp.org. After the break, she says her only bank account was frozen, and so was every dollar she had in it. We explain why a check deposit triggered a weeks-long hold and the simple steps that can help you avoid getting caught in the same situation. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes. A bank account freeze can turn your life upside down in an instant, especially if it's the only account you have. One woman says she was locked out of her money for weeks after a check deposit, with bills due and groceries running low. Reporter Susan Campbell in Arizona explains how it happened, how it was finally fixed, and what you can do to prevent this from happening.
You can imagine the stress. It's her only bank account, so the past several weeks have been really challenging.
I have my peanut butter, popcorn, and my dog food. My dog treats right there.
There's not much in Rosalind's cupboards. The fridge is almost empty too.
Nothing here.
So's the freezer. She had money, but she says her Chase bank account was frozen when she deposited a 5-figure check a month ago.
Initially, Chase Bank said that it was flagged as a fraudulent check and that they couldn't verify the check.
She's called, she's visited branches.
And each time I get a different story.
That's her only bank account, so her money that was in there before the check was deposited is also on hold.
I can't pay my bills. My car insurance lapsed. I can't afford to buy any food. I have specialists that I have to see because I am in remission recently from cancer. Yesterday, I had an appointment with a specialist that was 50 minutes away there and 15 minutes away back. And I'm just praying, like, please get home because I don't have the gas.
We asked Chase, what's the holdup? They quickly agreed to look into the situation. According to the bank, both the maker of the check and the customer had previous returned or unauthorized checks, so they needed to review the transaction. In a statement, a spokesperson for the bank said to protect customers against rising check fraud, we review checks and deposits for inconsistencies to ensure they're valid. After further review, the funds have been returned, and we apologize for the delay. Now, with the money back in her account, Rosalind says she'll be able to focus on her health and staying in remission.
Here you go. It is a hell of a fight.
There was no check fraud in this case, but in general, because check fraud is such a problem, Chase says consumers should use permanent ink to prevent changes to a check. Fill the entire line to make sure extra information can't be added. Write amounts clearly and use a consistent signature. Chase also says if you can, just avoid using checks if there's another payment method that's available.
And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV Plus Weekend. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download.